Hi everyone, Stephanie French Nygma for Last Word on Pro Wrestling, 3W Wrestling. I have the honor and the privilege to bring you to the King's Court today. Frankie Kazarian, I bow down.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good to have you on my media. I'm very happy uh, to to have you today on this beautiful day. As you say, it's very sunny. Okay, Uh, let's start Slammiversary this Sunday from New York City. And you have no match yet. What the hell is happening?
No, nothing announced, but it is the biggest one of our biggest pay-per-views of the year, in one of the biggest markets on earth, and one of the biggest buildings we have run thus far. So, no, I do not have a match as of yet. However, being the king of TNA, I 100% will be there, and I will make my presence felt. I guarantee that.
I had a bad idea like 2 weeks ago when you were doing the King's speech. I was like, Frankie Kazarian, special referee of the world title match. Oh,
Yeah,
what
that's
am I
you know
now?
Yeah, that happened last year at Bound for Glory. Um and when it was Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry, I was the guy reffing and I thought I did an excellent job. But I don't know if I'm necessarily trusted to be in that role again at this point. I wasn't called to do that one, but again, like I said, I'm going to make my presence felt, guaranteed.
But will you have a special eye on this match? Trick Williams, Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, mostly to know who will become champion or remain champion, and obviously who you sorry who you will have to face to
Yeah.
finally become the world champion.
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal, my objective is the TNA World Title. So I'll be watching this match more closely than any other. It's anything could happen. Trick Williams is the man. He's the champion right now, so he's the guy that has to be beat. Joe Hendry and Mike Santana have yet to prove they can beat him. Joe Hendry has the fans behind him, but so does Mike Santana because this is going to be in New York City. Mike Santana is very hungry. He has a lot of drive and a lot of passion. It's anybody's match to win, but Trick Williams is the man, and he's got to be beat. So until one of those two prove that they can do it, he's the guy that my eyes are on.
You feel like almost everybody, myself included, that the belt has to come home.
Absolutely. Again, I blame Joe Hendry for losing it in the first place. If I was TNA champion, I would have never lost the belt, certainly to an outsider. I would have protected it with my life. I would have done whatever I needed to do to keep that title. So, I'm not mad at Trick Williams for being champ. I'm mad at Joe Hendry for losing the belt, our TNA title, to an outsider.
But if you had to choose between the true one of the three, you already wrestled Joe Hendry. I think um, you would prefer to taking it from Trick or Joe or Mike.
I mean, that's a tough question. I like nothing more than beating Joe Henry up and disappointing his fans. So there's that. I would love to beat Mike Santana again. And I've never wrestled Trick Williams one on one, so that certainly would be very interesting and intriguing. For different reasons, I would like to kind of beat them all. But Yeah, Trick Williams and I have never had a singles match, so that would be very interesting because I know he's been in the ring with Joe and he's been in the ring with Mike, but he's never been in the ring with me, so I don't know if he would be prepared for what I can bring to the table.
Do you sometimes regret? Most of the time, the cashing was a surprise. you announced I cashed in at Rebellion. Um, do you sometimes regret the fact that you made it official instead of taking people by surprise?
I have no regrets. A lot of everybody thought I was going to, you know, maybe sneak attack someone at the end of a match or do it at the end of a show as a surprise and I even teased that a little bit a few times. But I was a man. I called my shot. I told everybody when I was cashing in. I don't regret it at all. What I do regret is Santino getting involved and allowing Ethan Page to be in the match and allowing Ethan Page got beat by Joe Hendry. I did not get beat by Joe Hendry. I got screwed. So if you ask me, I should still have that Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy. It should still be in my possession. I blame the political animal that is Santino for allowing that to happen.
Yeah, that it remains the goal. When you came back, it was the goal, world champion. It remains the goal, for sure. I'm going to say that. Do you feel like your career will not be complete without that title?
It's a great question. I've accomplished more in my career than I ever thought possible already, but I would be lying if I said that, something is, certainly not missing from this wall behind me here. And I've worked very long and very hard to become a TNA World Champion. I am more than qualified to be that guy. And again, that's my only concern right now. And until I get that title, it is going to remain my only concern is becoming TNA World Champion.
I was talking about the King's Speech not so long ago. Who had the idea of the King's Speech? Because I liked it made me think of the Piper's Speech in some ways. It was reminding me of an old time both of us knew
Yep.
about.
Yeah. It was something that creative brought to me, and I loved it. I love the idea of it. They let me give the name to it, and it comes to like interview segments and talking segments like that. It's there's Roddy Piper, and then there's everybody else. There's been a lot of cool ones, like Jerry Lawler had one, and Jesse Ventura, and Adrian Adonis, and Shawn Michaels, and a lot of guys that can really talk. The barbershop and the funeral parlor and the snake pit and all these cool shows that I grew up watching. But it kind of begins and ends with Roddy Piper. He set the bar, and none of us have come close to that. But to be given the opportunity to have my own show is really cool. The company's put a lot of trust in me to go out there and carry a segment like that on my own. So I'm thrilled. I grew up a huge Roddy Piper fan, so I'm just in his shadow doing the very best I can with it.
I think for the people of our generation, it was such a great moment to be a wrestling fan because we
Yeah.
are of the same age. So
Yeah.
I'm saying it. Yes.
Right.
3 years ago, you were coming back betting and I will never forget that. You said you decided to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And betting on yourself was meaning betting on TNA. Impact at that time, but that became TNA very quickly after. Um, I mean, are you happy? 3 years after, when you look at that, when you think about the choice you made, you feel like it was the best thing I have ever done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I always say, if you bet on yourself, you never lose. And uh, you know, um, everything that's happened, since I came back, the success of myself, the success of TNA, the rebranding of TNA to see the popularity of the company, how everything's trending upwards. It's all reassurance that I made the best decision I possibly could have made. Uh, it's been maybe the funnest 2.5 3 years of my career. I've made a lot of reconnected with a lot of old friends and made a lot of great new lifetime friends. and I've done some of my best, probably my best work, and had some of my best matches. So there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful that I made that decision to better myself.
Yeah, and I imagine that now, of course, you're wrestling, but um, the 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 world is different. At the same time, being in the ring, but I'm sure in the back you're also helping and doing things. You're promoting the company like nobody else does. Um, do you enjoy this part? This new part,
Yeah,
this new part of the game.
yeah. Look, and I enjoy every aspect of what we do. You know, the travel gets to be a bit much at times, but you know, it's my worst day in pro wrestling is better than my best day doing anything else. You know, and yeah, like even like doing media and doing interviews, I look forward to it. Getting the opportunity to promote TNA through like a charity softball game, like we're doing this Saturday, I enjoy that a lot. Getting able to do commentary with Matt and Tom, I enjoy that. You know, I've been lucky enough to kind of learn every aspect of the professional wrestling business, not just in the ring, but what goes on in the truck, what goes on in creative, what goes on behind the scenes, what goes on and man, you know, there's so many different facets to pro wrestling, and I've kind of, you know, learned a lot about every area of this business, and I enjoy it all.
You and Eric Young are like the two TNA originals. You
Yeah,
are
the last two, man. Yeah.
the last two, and it's wonderful to feel like the time machine, and I'm coming back to the time when I was watching all these things on TNA. It was like, my God, great. But you had longer hair at that time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Looked a little bit different. Yeah, looked a little different.
That's very interesting. Yesterday, TNA was invading NXT. We
Mm.
learned that there will be additional seats for Slammiversary because it's sold out again. There are more and more and more interest in TNA. Um, you and I, we know that this company is awesome. I've been writing on it for 8 years. I've supported it all the time. But this time is really special. And how do you feel? Because you're one of the TNA originals, so you had to convince when it was the start that the company was good, but now it's a complete different time. And wow, do you enjoy it differently?
You know, it's cool. Like going back to what you said, you know, there was a time that myself and Eric Young came into the company as two young hot shots, you know, like just trying to make our name. And now here we are all these years later, like, you know, the kind of like the two old gunslingers that have made our name and are, you know, still in town, and everybody knows who we are and knows what we're all about. Really cool. I enjoy being a TNA original. I wear that as a badge of honor. Again, there's two of us left, and you know, once we're gone, that's the last of the TNA originals. But what TNA is doing right now, the crop of young talent they have, the popularity, I feel great. I feel really cool. I know the younger people on our roster also appreciate what's happening right now, and as well they should. They've worked very hard to help make it happen. I appreciate it, you know, in a different way. I appreciate it from the perspective of being a guy that was there and saw, you know, this company in the early days, and you know, was a part of this company when people told us, you know, you're not going to last another week, another month, certainly another year, and certainly not another 22 years. So it's all very special, and it's never lost on me.
I started in 2017 when Dave Meltzer was saying that the company was about to shut down. So,
Yeah.
and I have worked and worked and worked and worked, and I'm proud to write on this company. Um, we all know that 40 is the new 20. And do you feel better now resting that when you were this young kid trying to doing these crazy things in the Ultimate X
Yeah.
match? etc. Do you feel like it's your best time? And how many years do you think um, you can keep on this way? I don't want to say retire, that's bad.
Sure. Yeah. To answer your question, I feel better now in every aspect than I did 10, 20 years ago. So I'm certainly a much smarter wrestler now, and that's kind of the most important thing. But physically, and mentally, I'm better than I ever have. Certainly. I think I'm doing my best work currently. And you know what? I'm very smart about my health, my diet, and my nutrition. And I want to do this until I until I don't look like a Frankie Kazarian parody. I don't want to be out there and give the fans anything less than 100%. And don't want to go out there and have to mail it in or not do certain things because I can't physically do them. Once I'm at that point, then maybe it's time to ride off into the sunset or just disappear. But that for me is a long ways off. I'm blessed to do this, and I want to do it at 100% as long as I can.
Maybe you want to beat Christopher Daniels on that. Do longer than him. I was very sad
Yeah,
to hear that he was retiring, but my God, his career is
he's
amazing. The
one of the
man is
best.
amazing. The
Yeah, he's
man,
one of the best. One of my best friends. A guy I certainly learned a lot from inside the ring, certainly outside the ring, how to conduct myself like a professional. Nothing but history between him and I. And what a career he had. I was uh, so you're blessed to be such a huge part of it, and so happy that he's at peace with being retired, and he's still contributing in a huge way behind the scenes. And he's another guy, if you ask me, that will never get the credit that he deserves for kind of pioneering a style that we see in the mainstream today on every wrestling company.
I have to say, I was watching TNA for the exact same reason that everybody will say. It was AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, you, Chris Sabin, etc., etc.,
Yep.
because we had our mind blown and we
Yeah.
loved that. And I love that. And I also enjoyed to see the matches of your wife, Tracy Brooks. She was always so great in the ring.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I can't wait to know what's gonna happen for you at Slammiversary. So thank you very much, Frankie Kazarian. It was really an honor to talk to a king because
I
you are a
appreciate
king.
that. Thank you for your time.